Reading week, for anyone who doesn't know, is a week without classes so you can read, that is, study for your upcoming midterms, and is generally held halfway through the first semester, so roughly around November or so. My school, however, had a second reading week at the end of, February or some shit to allow kids to study for exam time. Now, I've looked into this, and it seems more common now. But back then, we didn't know people in other schools who had this second reading week. The reasoning, so the legend went, is that there was a second break added in an effort to reduce the abnormally high rate of students at my school that were killing themselves. Overworked, no end in sight, terrified of letting down family or themselves, unable to cope with stress and expectations and depression and shame. Our students were killing themselves in record numbers, leading to the break's more common name, Suicide Week. We didn't even know if any of this was true, but that's the reputation it had. I desperately needed that break. After getting into my dream program, I'd found it was not the place of wonderment I had expected. I didn't really feel like I was learning anything. I couldn't even tell when the stuff I wanted to learn would be taught, or if at all. I wasn't fitting in, clearly. I didn't seem to have any friends in my class. Seeing my ex every day was just this nagging reminder that any time I was happy, it could be just taken away. I was missing a sense of certainty, and I was starting to regret enrolling at all. I was never going to be popular, probably not successful, or happy. It just didn't seem like I had any kind of a future anymore, and I started to wonder what the fuck was I even doing there. But finally, Suicide Week was upon us, giving me the time I needed to decompress. It all just seemed so easy for everyone else. I'd started going to college with that security of high school friends readily available, some emotional backup, if you will, but that also was coming apart. Robin dropped out, realizing that art school wasn't for him. He left to reflect on what path he'd rather choose, and frankly, I couldn't blame him. Smitty and Radek, however, were fitting in with a solid core of classmates in their respective programs, but being shorter programs, both of them would be gone by the end of the semester, leaving me, pretty much on my own. I'd have to rely entirely on myself for building friendships, and that's something I was never very good at. Now, hanging out with Radek was like stepping into a fucking movie. Those media arts kids did not fuck around. They worked like Chinese high schoolers during the week, and partied like white high schoolers pretending to be black high schoolers on the weekend. He invited me out a few times to hang with them, but I could never keep up. I gave it the old college try, sneaking their own liquor into the bar, sneaking the bar's liquor to their apartment, turning that apartment into the set of a snuff film, making a snuff film for extra credit behind the back of the bar. You know, college shit. But at night, I would just lie there, alone. No classes to look forward to. No drive to do any of the things I normally wanted to. Slowly reversing my sleep schedule, forgetting to shave, passing out most nights without even brushing my teeth, just staring into the darkness. Wondering where I was going and what the fuck I thought I was doing. I was slowly realizing that I'd made a huge mistake. I'd never succeed. I probably wouldn't even graduate. I'd never make it as an artist. And I would just keep being alone. May as well just... Downtime is time to reflect. But you don't always like what you see looking back at you. So ever the tag-along in numerous social circles, I was invited out by Smitty to a party with the Photo Kids, some small house rented by a bunch of students, furnished by either a poor family in the 1970s or hipsters in 2006. You know, back when that word still meant something. I sulked around and I didn't really know anyone, but I had my best friend, his future wife, and some other faces I'd come to know pretty well, and there was a generally good atmosphere. I remember being, envious. We left sometime around midnight. It was one of those perfect, warm winter nights where it's snowing, but it feels like everything's been soundproofed, and it was just beautiful. And we come across this dirt bike track in the snow everywhere we go, the whole time, every turn we take, every path we're on, right ahead of us. And so we marched on, fueled by drugs and alcohol and laughter and camaraderie, into that calm, beautiful night that seemed almost like it was made just for us. And there were those tracks, guiding me home, a fleeting record to that rider of their journey, but to me, a clear vision of a path to take, a road to a warm bed, a new dawn, and a chance for a brighter future. No sad thoughts tonight. After the weekend, school would begin anew. And I thought, God, these guys, they're going to know each other for the rest of their lives. That's got to feel really fucking good. I want that. And I want a chance to find it.